Hamilton. I don't really know what I expected when I bought a ticket to see a musical about the most boring period in history because I actively avoided having an opinion. I heard the hype. I was told the music was revolutionary. I resisted the hype as hard as I could so that I didn't taint the final product with illusions of grandeur. I told myself that all it needed to do was not suck. Finally, when I sat down, I found that the adjective used to sell me on the performance was only one of convenience. The music was about the revolution, so in a sense, it was revolutionary. But what I watched was one of the safest, most average, most mediocre plays that I have ever been to. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you my pure, unvarnished opinion. Hamilton was all hype. From the get-go, I was sorely disappointed. I realized it very early on that the people who put this show together had, at the same time, real, deep knowledge of theater and performance, and no knowledge of those things whatsoever. It was truly the uncanny valley of musicals. I really feel that this was the result of Lin-Manuel Miranda bludgeoning people over the head with his vision. At this time, I feel I have to make a disclaimer. I confess during our show the sound wasn't balanced for the whole theater. Some people just couldn't hear a damn thing they said over the music, and Ragdoll and I were two of those people. Never mind the beefed up security at the venue, an actual packed house made the whole place feel alien to me, despite having been there dozens of times over the years. It's almost as if everything conspired together to go very wrong very quickly, and only some very fast and clever work done by people who aren't being paid enough to do it, and in some cases who are volunteers, ensured the whole night went smoothly. The actual music was enjoyable since it was the only thing I could hear half the time, but the actual lyrics of the song were artless, ham-fisted, blunt, for a lack of a better word. In the songs that I'm actually able to recall, the lyrics consist of lists of things that the singer is or has done. I did this. I am that. Like, forget metaphors, am I right? Just list your notes about each historical figure in order and put the words in their mouths. Eliza, in what had to be the most obviously tacked on final song in the history of Broadway, absurdly tells us that she is inserting herself into the story that she is currently telling on stage. How is it put? I'm putting myself back in the narrative? Such a weird way to put it, especially since no single person in the Revolutionary War saw it as part of a story. Lafayette didn't worry about how he would be portrayed on stage. Aaron Burr wasn't concerned about being taken down in song and meme 2.5 centuries hence. George Washington's farewell address didn't instruct us to look for the moral in an ancient fable, but rather it was the moral to what future historians and Americans now describe as a story. And speaking of stories, Eliza completes her song by listing all the things she is going to do off stage in an increasingly annoying series of more I statements. The artlessness in the lyrics were so painful because they only described a better play that I wasn't seeing. This isn't more evident than in the very first song in the performance. We are told in montage and nigh inaudible whisper that Alexander Hamilton and his mom both got sick. She died, he got better. Somehow, this excerpt from your civics notebook didn't get made into a scene at the beginning. We're just told about it in passing, throwing it away, instead of at least attempting to gain sympathy for this guy who we know is catching a bullet at the end. The sad part is we only know that because of a milk commercial and not our collective high school faculty. Seriously, who wasn't thinking, "Owl ball" the whole time? It was hard not to because he was the only one I knew. Ironically, this song would have been perfect at the end of the play. You could have chronicled the life you just acted out on stage and sunk the musical hook into everyone again so it'll stick in their heads as they leave and walk past the merch. It would have made sense, and I would have known the names of the people who were dying for, trusting, loving, and or shooting him. They were not even wearing their regular costumes during the opening number. Even when I saw them later, since they looked different, I couldn't connect the person who said the thing with the characters being presented to me. And two of them had two different parts! I spent 0 minutes of this mess not confused because of the opening song. Because of the technical difficulties, I decided to give it a second chance. Maybe it was better if it didn't seem like the play was being broadcast to me through a pair of tin cans. Unfortunately, I immediately found out that whoever cast was Hamilton had the kicked-in-the-nuts voice of someone who squeals when they get too excited. I would happily cast him as the youngest brother in a crime family who gets whacked first for being an annoying little shit. I really feel that man would shine in such a role. So imagine my surprise when I find out that person was Lin-Manuel fucking Miranda. I was stunned. Such a tiny voice. Such a lack of depth for expression. No one who could project a whisper into the cheap seats like I'm sure most of the other actors on Broadway can do. Why did we have to make do with Vinny the Creep? Was it just because he knew the lines? Because I'm sure whoever you can find can memorize such a dry chronological list of events and mutter, "I'm not giving away my shot," 86 times in a row. I read on Wikipedia that he spent a year perfecting that song. All I had to say was, "Dude, you write slow." I would like to say that the man who gave his performance on Thursday night did much better. His voice was one that I expected and would have welcomed if the audio crew had balanced the sound correctly for all the seats in the venue instead of only the ones in the exact middle. Unfortunately, he still came in a quarter of a beat too late on the word shot every single time. It really highlighted the problem of choosing rap as the medium through which they portray the American Revolutionary War. Lifting whole sentences from kids' social studies reports didn't mean they fit neatly into the meter Miranda was going for. But he ignored that and stuffed extra syllables on top of one another like he was jamming luggage into his overhead compartment. Despite Lin-Manuel's gleeful traipsing over the ground hollowed by those who went before, there was real talent behind the whole thing. At every turn, you could find the hallmarks of careful work laid down by skillful hands. Because of him, there are twinned tragedies embedded in the whole construction of the show itself. The first is that there is a very good reason you don't rap in musicals. It's the same reason you don't play music over the speaking parts. No one can hear a damn thing. Since rap and speaking are pretty much indistinguishable with respect to actual projection of sound into the theater, rapping is a poor choice for the medium to convey your message. The words are drowned out, and the meaning is lost. Now, you might say that despite all that, the rap is what brought people to the show. It's what put asses in seats, and that, overall, is a good thing. Lots of new people were exposed to Broadway, and even if a tenth of the people that saw Hamilton maintained their interest in see new shows, then it was all worth it. After all, you need to bring people in because of the nature of communities. No one is going to play guitar forever. No one is going to do magic tricks forever. No one is going to sell boutique wines, make handcrafted beers, or grow their own dank strains forever either, so you need to bring in new blood to carry on the craft. But this is the second tragedy, the hidden pitfall that Hamilton ironically fell into. Gave away his shot. Any given play takes a shot at capturing the imagination of those that see it. When you return to the theater, you'll find something similar, yet more so. More daring, more emotional, more transformative. And in doing so, like me, you'll be entranced by the stage and drawn back to it time and again. In the case of Hamilton, however, you'll not find the same thing that brought you there. The stylistic choices in the score aren't going to generally present themselves in the rest of the vast universe of Broadway and musicals. When those who bought tickets go back for more of the same, they'll only end up being sorely disappointed. When the hype dies down and they've finally shown this performance to everyone in the continental US, they'll have made their dollars and left us with the impression of a play. I predict that Hamilton will make top 10 lists in the near future of things that were inexplicably popular at the time, but now seem faded, and maybe even a little problematic. Which is a great shame, of course. The actors were supremely talented. The music itself wasn't bad, even though I couldn't hear the lyrics, and the dancing was everything you'd expect from a Broadway musical. Like I said before, this hit the uncanny valley so hard that I find it imprinted onto my eyeballs, denying me sleep at night. Every little piece of this was shepherded into place by consummate professionals. Every detail was seen to by lifelong theater nerds who never fail to do this every single time. And if the tickets didn't come with such an exorbitant price tag, I probably wouldn't have felt so let down because Broadway was there. behind all the bullshit, because no one person can dispel the magic of those bright lights. At the end of the day, Hamilton was a below average yet passable play. One that took a dry, boring topic and made it leap across the stage, even if it really failed to make it fly. If it wasn't for the poison pill of Miranda's questionable talent, it probably would have been a much better performance. But at the same time, a little less legendary. If you like what you've heard here today, please hit that like button. Please share it with others. Please subscribe to our content. And even if you don't like it, please do that. I'm going to give you a contentious opinion someday, and I want to argue about it, so hit us up on that Facebook group. Just search the name of the show.
The wind howled at the washboard, sleeping underneath the moon. Our plan was hatched in a briar patch where lovers shook hands soon. Their lips stained with violet, their tongues tied into knots. To the loamy beds, their secrets, but we